morning, my fellow Tottenham fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy, Big Dave. Fresh off a freezing cold shower and a meal for champions, and I'm absolutely pumped today. It is game day, and I cannot wait. All my fellow Tottenham fans, it's time to get your lumberjack outfits on and head to Nottingham to commit some deforestation today. They're getting wet and wild up there, and it's up to us to contain the forest. I'm absolutely pumped for this one. Look, today is an absolute must-win. With Man City and sort of Newcastle going out of the Champions League midweek, it does now look like that only top four will get Champions League football next year. We're already 3 points cut adrift of it behind Man City, so it's very, very important that we do win today and keep in touch and distance with it. The last thing we want is to sort of fall adrift and try and make up a massive points deficit come the second half of the season. So very, very important we win against teams like Forest today. Also, on Friday night, we don't have a good record on Friday night fixtures. Sorry to bring this to you, but we've only won about 20, I think it's 25% of our Friday night fixtures, drawing 4 and losing 5 in the process. So not a good omen there. However, Ange Ball does love these old records being stacked up, and we will come through it like a freight train. One stop, the City ground. Let's bloody go. We're going to destroy that record today. I'm absolutely pumped, and I cannot wait. But look, let's get into it. I'm going to give you the lineup that I do think Ange Postecoglou will pick tonight to contain the Forest and come home with all 3 points for Spurs. Now, look, we will start with goalkeeper, and of course, Guglielmo Vicario will keep his place in the squad. Absolutely loved the cheeky tongue out and the shithousery against Callum Wilson last week. Of course, Callum Wilson coming out moaning in the press after about being respectful. Well, you weren't so respectful when you and that West Ham idiot, Mikel Antonio, were ripping the piss out of Richarlison and the way he was playing and stuff like that on your crap little podcast that I don't listen to, which means it's absolutely irrelevant because I listen to a lot of podcasts. So the point and the moral of the story is, don't go and moan to the press. If you don't like it done, back to you. So fair play to Venin Vicario. Not only is he the best shot stopper in the league, the best goalkeeper in terms of distribution, he also sticks up for his fellow teammates, which I absolutely love. And Big Vic, that mentality will go down just like a tree at Tottenham Hotspur. Never lose that edge, my man. Now, look, we will need him today. Forest are going to pump balls into the box at every single opportunity they get. You've got big Chris Wood in there. He will cause us problems. Aerially is probably our biggest weakness, so we will need a big save from Vic, and hopefully he will deliver. No clean sheet in 7 games either. That must be absolutely killing him as a goalkeeper. He definitely have what are they called? Perks in his contract, clean sheet bonuses and stuff like that. So I've no doubt he'll want a couple of clean sheets to up his pay packet over the next while. Now, moving on to left back, and it is the big dog, Destiny Udogie, fresh off scoring against Newcastle in that thrashing that we gave them. Also, fresh off the back of signing a new contract. By the way, that goal makes up for that error at West Ham with that sloppy back pass. But I want to see more of the same from Destiny Udogie. He's been absolutely consistent this season in terms of going forward and defensively. And I just want to see more of the same. I do worry about the length of the contract he signed. For me, as a human being, I think it puts you in the comfort zone. And when you're in the comfort zone, that's when it becomes dangerous. Standard slide and stuff like that. Hopefully, Destiny Udogie's not one of them. I've seen it with Winks in years gone by. Big contract. Comfort zone, never really went on to develop and this sort of fulfill what potential people saw in him. Not me, but what other people saw in him. So hopefully the same doesn't have to happen to Destiny Udogie. What I will say though is, lastly, is he is one of 2 players in this Tottenham squad today that if he does pick up a yellow card, he will miss that trip to Everton on the 23rd. So Destiny Udogie has to avoid the referee's book today because we will need him for that game on the 23rd. Now moving over onto right back, and it is Postman Porro delivers UK wide. How long have I been telling you? No one wants to stand up and take notice. Well, now you are. Look, when it comes to Pedro Porro, being one of the best right backs in the league, in my opinion. When you look at his terms of outputs of goals and assists, it stacks right up there with Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'd actually argue that he's better defensively than Trent Alexander-Arnold and probably shoehorns him in to the best right back in the country, in my opinion. Absolutely crucial last week. Great ball over the top four. Sorry about that. For Richarlison's goal. Also, great ball slid through for Sonny, where he went on to win the penalty as well. What I love about Pedro Porro is, not only is he exquisite in the passing range, not only does he bend it like Porro, aka bend it like Beckham when he's crossing the ball, but he also offers a goal threat. This kid is absolutely unbelievable, and it's the mentality and the mindset of the guy as well. Even when things go wrong, he just knuckles down and works harder. I absolutely love this guy. But guys, I do have a question for you guys, so please let me know your answers in the comment section below. Do we now have the new Walker and Rose in Porro and Edozie, and how do they stack up to Kyle Walker and Danny Rose in the fullbacks positions? Please let me know your thoughts on that. Now, moving into the centre-back partnership, and we will start with left centre-back, and we will bring back in Ben Davies off the back of an absolute superb performance against Newcastle last week. That game-saving tackle he made right at the start of the game, it was massive in two ways. I think it was massive for Ben Davies in terms of the awareness, stayed switched on, the ground he made up to get back. But in that position, I've seen many defenders sort of pull out or hide and not to want to make that contact with the ball in fear of scoring an own goal. And Davies, with half of the Spurs fan base on his back, could have very easily done that, but he didn't. He went for it and managed to steer it clear, which is absolutely huge. And if that went in, it would have also changed the sort of complex of the game, changed the nature of the game. So absolutely big moment from Ben Davies. But my biggest praise for him is not actually defensively last week. It's actually how good he was on the ball. And it's something I haven't really seen from Ben Davies before. Would you make the argument that maybe he's just starting to get a bit used to Ange ball? I'm not quite so sure, but most of the time, people went to press the obvious pass that was in front of Ben Davies. And I was expecting him to make them passes, but he didn't. He played the ball beyond Newcastle press into the midfield and allowed us to sort of springboard attacks from there. So absolutely brilliant from Ben Davies. But this is my frustration. We've seen performances like this in isolation in years gone by. Now it's about forming that consistency, getting back out there against Forest and doing it again today. And I hope he does. I think there's a lot of misconception about me and Ben Davies. People think I sort of hate the guy. I don't hate the guy. I just get frustrated because the caliber of performances, in my opinion, haven't been good enough. But he has a real opportunity now to try and, sort of nail down his spot or try and compete for that spot. So it's a huge opportunity for him. And let's see how he does today. Now, moving on to the right-hand side, and it is Rambam. I absolutely cannot wait. By the way, is it just me or has he become a goal threat lately? Nearly scoring another one at the weekend, sort of just cleared off the post against Newcastle. But look, he's the second player in this starting lineup that needs to be careful today. Because if he picks up another yellow card, he's out for the game against Everton. But also it continues on the narrative about around Romero about maybe how rash he is. Look, me personally, I'm one of these. I'll never want Romero to stop playing on the edge. I absolutely encourage him to play on the edge. Yes, there's that downside of it where he'll pick up bookings and suspensions and stuff like that. However, from my experience in being in dressing rooms and from my experience even just watching Tottenham down the years, we've had plenty of players that play on the edge. Once they lose that, they're never, ever, ever the same player again. So for me, I fully encourage Romero, keep playing on the edge. You bring that bit of bite, that bit of speed to that back line that we missed, in years gone by. And look, when it works, strikers don't want to know. You watch, when he clatters a striker, they'll move everywhere but near Romero. And when Romero is near them, they'll just more or less give up the ball to him. So there is benefits to it, but I'm one of them. I keep encouraging Big Rom to play on the edge. Now moving into midfield, and we will start with sort of the deepest lying midfielder, and I will bring back in Yves Bissouma now. Better performance last week against Newcastle, but make no mistake about it, nowhere near his best yet. Also, I will say, when we went 1-0 up against Newcastle, there was an element where he was annoying me. He was starting to slow it down again. Make these 4 or 5 yard passes until Son said, give me that ball. I'm going to get at them nice and direct. And this is what I want from Bissouma. Stop slowing the games down when we're 1-0 up, getting us into that sort of mindset and just keep going for the throat. And what I still think is missing from Basuma's game, and I will not rest until I see it, is back in pre-season, back early in the season, he actually wanted to go and affect games. And what I mean by that is he picked up the ball and he dribbled at players. He took players out. He done 1-2s, made runs beyond the striker into the box at times, made runs into the box with the ball at his feet. And I want to drag that out of him. For me, if he adds that to his game on a consistent basis, you're talking about someone that can offer us what Musa Dembele used to offer us. Big, powerful, strong, great runs down the middle. No one can knock him off the ball. And I want to drag that out of Yves Bissouma because I think it's in there. And once he does that on a consistent basis, we'll have a world-class midfielder on our hands. Now, moving on to the right side of midfield, we will bring back in Papamata Sarr. Absolutely crucial in our win last week. What I love most about this guy is the energy, the work rate, and the ability and the combative ability to be able to turn the ball over on the regular for Tottenham Hotspur. We've seen it last week at both ends of the pitch. One, he ended up making a challenge against the Newcastle player just on the edge of his own box. Ball falls to Brennan Johnson, has a crack, hits the post. But on another day, that would have went in. But also defensively, there was one there where he went down the right-hand side to cover sort of Pedro Porro. Not only did he take the ball off the winger, but also had the balls to play out with it. I absolutely love this kid. I think he's absolutely sensational. I think he's been badly missed in this Tottenham team. He turns over more ball in the midfield than any other Tottenham player out on that pitch, but also averages about 7 turnovers a game, which is absolutely huge. Box-to-box midfielder, constant energy, but also the amount of switches of play he made last week in the Newcastle game, getting on the ball, big switch out the left-hand side. He's got a very good passing range in him, and one I want to see develop and come out of his shell a little bit more. But my God, he's been absolutely unbelievable. Look, I know many people may not like the comparison, but I do sort of compare him to Patrick Vieira at Arsenal. Big, strong, energetic, box-to-box midfielder. Have no problem all day long getting down and up. Great in tackling, but can also play very elegant on the ball. Absolutely unbelievable. I want to see more of this from Papamata Sarr. He's been absolutely unbelievable, and he definitely warrants that new contract. He's only on 10 grand a week, which is an absolute crime for the level of performances he's putting in. I don't want to see it as long as it does, though, because I don't want him to sort of get into that comfort zone. It is something that I'm worried about. But we need him today. We need another massive performance from him. Now, moving on to the left side of midfield, and we will be bringing in Dejan Kulusevski. Of course, Giovanni Lo Celso injured, but also dropped against Newcastle to make way for Kulu. Kulu's been absolutely sensational this week, and I do think there is, at times, an unfair narrative around him that maybe he hasn't been so good. This guy has created more chances from open play than any other player in the Premier League, which just goes to show we do have a finishing problem at this football club when he has the most chances created from open play. And he's got very sort of little assist to his name. But look, I am of the opinion and starting to believe now that maybe that role is his best sort of role in this side, his most effective for Tottenham Hotspur. And look, I do think we found our answer to James Maddison when James Maddison is out injured in Kulusevski. With James Maddison, he's a great passer of the ball and stuff like that. But with Kulu's a little bit different. He likes to travel with that ball. He's strong, he's powerful, he's direct, constantly running at players, taking them out of the game. When you've got a big, strong, powerful guy running through the middle like that, it's very hard to knock him off balance. Very hard to knock him off the ball in general. Just keep creating, Kulu. That's all we want from you. Be that menace. One thing I love about the guy is, you see a lot of players that are very good on the ball, creative and what have you not, but don't really have that work rate out of possession. This guy's work rate out of possession is absolutely unbelievable. Like Papamata Sarr, up and back all game, but also get stuck in defensively. I absolutely love that from Kulu. And just keep being that creative force, that creative god. Absolutely unbelievable in there. Long term, I think it's a position that might actually suit him. Now, moving on to the right side of midfield. And of course, I will bring back in Brennan Johnson. I do take the argument and accept it that he is better suited to the right hand side than the left hand side. However, I'd still argue that a good winger should be able to play both. I grew up watching plenty of wingers that were able to play both wings. But with Brennan Johnson, bit of a mixed bag last week. Couple of crossing opportunities, not so great with his delivery, and that's been a constant theme since his arrival. That his delivery has a lot of work still left to do on that in order to sort of bring that side of his game to the fore. However, in terms of a goal threat, a good guy that has a good shot in him, I mean, he delivers that, hits the post twice last week. What I love most about him is his raw pace, how he uses that to directly get at players, put the ball in behind players and get on the end of it as well. Absolutely brilliant. But like I said, I do think he needs to work on that final ball, that cross, whether it be a pass, that sort of delivery. Do think that side of his game is maybe lacking. However, with Brennan Johnson, I think, his career could go two ways. If he continues to work on his game, knuckle down and work hard, he could go on and have a similar impact to what Gareth Bale has had at Tottenham and Wales, if that's what Brennan Johnson wants to do. If he doesn't, he could very easily be like a Bergwijn, come to Tottenham with a lot of great promise, doesn't work out, and you have to take that step backwards again because you're just not at that level. So it's now up to Brennan Johnson to be what he wants to be at Tottenham. Hopefully it's more that Gareth Bale comparison. He's got the raw pace, he's got the shooting, just had that crossing ability. He's absolutely flying. Now, moving on to the left wing, I got a lot of stick for this switch last week. However, I don't care what any of you have to say because the main man in charge agreed with me, and that is Big Ange Postecoglou. And my God, it was refreshing. It panned out exactly the way I wanted it. I said last week, with Son down the middle, we lose that creativity, but also he doesn't make them sort of runs that a striker makes in the box. We've got no presence. That's why Kulu and Brennan Johnson kept on coming back inside. But with Richarlison down the middle, it really worked. Now, look, let's stick with Sonny for a minute. How good was it to see him get on that ball at halfway line and drive at teams? How good was it to see him drive that fullback into his own box, running backwards? Absolutely unbelievable. And for me, that's exactly what Son can bring to this team. He will score goals off the left-hand side. No doubt about it. He has done all his Tottenham career. But it's also that creativity. That's someone that's going to take the game to the opposition that I've missed with Sonny. I felt like everyone was looking for him to do that against West Ham, but him playing through the middle, you lose that ability because he's constantly playing with his back to goal rather than getting on the ball facing goal. And that's where Son is most dangerous. I take the talk about, his finishing being his best asset, 100%. But with a world-class player, he's got so much more to his game than just that finishing ability, and it's up to us to bring it out of him. And for me, that left-hand side absolutely suits him perfectly. He can get on the ball, facing goals, and run at players. And I just think he creates a much more of a threat in that scenario. And look, hopefully he does the same again today because Forrest will park 5 across that back line. We need Sonny. Get at his man, beat him at every opportunity, and either whip him across or have a shot. But just be that constant threat that we desire, that we need down that left-hand side. Absolutely phenomenal last week. Great to see the creative side of the game and the goal scoring side of the game come together. Along may it continue. Now, moving on to the main man up front, and we will go with Richarlison today. Of course, backed him last week to come in up front and sort of make the difference as a striker, and boy, did he do that with 2 goals. Now, I know some people are going to say, Dave, I would have finished the first one. I doubt you would have. Look at the run he made. It's double movement. One to the front post initially to support Son. Realise Son beats Trippier, then pulls back to receive the pass for that shot. So it's the movement but that creates that goal. And then, of course, finishing is the easy part from that situation. Then the second goal. Great movement again off the ball. Obviously, the ball over the top made that goal. Then great touch, rounded the goalkeeper. But what I love about it is we were putting balls into the box and they were coming from both sides. And the reason why they were doing that is because they know they've got that presence in the box. So they will have no problem delivering it. But look, Richarlison hasn't scored in back-to-back games since that move from Everton. So it's now up to him to go out there and prove his worth. He is off the back of the injury. He spoke about the injury, that he couldn't strike a ball out of fear of making it worse, couldn't move properly. Last week, his all-round game was brilliant in terms of hold-up play, first touch, laying it off, getting into the box, scoring goals. This is what we paid for, and it's up to him now to grab that opportunity and deliver. What I will say to Spurs fans, regardless of how frustrating you think it is, regardless of how much you want Sonny to play down the middle, the reality is we have to stick with this up until at least after the Asian Cup in February. Sonny's going to be missing 4 to 5 games. So for me, we have to play Richie down the middle. We have to get him fit, firing, and confident, so that when Sonny is gone, he's ready to sort of step in there and pick up that mantle for such a short space of time. So whether Spurs fans like the idea or not, it is something we have to persist with, and something we need to get behind and hope that works out. Because last thing we want is that drop off when Son's gone. It'll be another momentum killer, and yet again another sort of stop-start season that, in my opinion, we can't afford if we want top four. So I do think Ange Postecoglou will persist with this until at least when Son gets back from the Asian Games. But look, guys, that's my predicted lineup. You fellow Spurs fans, you die-hard Spurs fans, please let me know in the comments your thoughts on my predicted lineup. And what I would say is, if you're going to slate me, think of my Tactics 101 I gave you last week before you do that. Maybe praise me this week. That'd be nice. I love a bit of an ego boost at times. But most importantly, get your predicted 11 in below. Let me know why you've picked each individual. Let me know if you disagree or agree with anything I have to say on this. But most importantly, go and get yourselves ready for this evening. Big kickoff at 8 p.m. We have to go up there, whether we like it or not. We have to commit deforestation. Get your wellies on, get your overalls on, and let's bloody go. I cannot wait. If you want to see more of me, get yourself back here for 4 p.m. for the pre-match bump up, where we'll be talking a lot more about starting lineup and some other issues going on around that Tottenham Hotspur, and ultimately getting you pumped up for the game. But as you can see, I'm ready. I've had my breakfast of champions. It's time for you to go off and have yours. As always, come on, you Spurs. In the mighty Ange Postecoglou we trust. We never stop. Let's go.